This is surreal. That's the first three words I posted in a comment on a video yesterday that Chris Boers made on his channel, The Irate Gamer. And it was a response video to the video I made last week talking about how petty it is to hold on to this hatred of Chris Boers after all these years and just not move the fuck on. Anyway, the video that Chris made wasn't necessarily a response to my video per se, more that my video, as he said, was the catalyst or the thing that finally pushed him to the point that he wanted to address a number of issues that he hasn't thrown out on the table. Now, much like Chris said, in my video here, you could choose to believe everything, nothing, some things, all the things, whatever. It doesn't really fucking matter to me at this point, because there's a lot of things that I've been sitting on here that I haven't said about why I went after the Irate Gamer, why I changed my tide on James Rolfe, the angry video game nerd. And yes, I'm going to refer to him by name, even though he's who we shall not speak of here on this channel. But anyway, just for the sake of full disclosure, and I don't give a shit at this point because there's a lot of things that I didn't say to you guys because I thought they would be damaging at the time, given the types of videos I was making and whatnot. We'll get into all that here. Anyway, I can't guarantee it's going to be the 38-minute type video that you saw Chris Boers make yesterday, but this is probably going to be a pretty lengthy little discussion because I've been known to drone on and on. Anyways, let's just get to it. Alright, it goes without saying, I was a huge fan of James Rolfe, the angry video game nerd. I remember first seeing one of his videos on a MySpace page. Do you guys remember what MySpace was? Anyway, I, of all things, found a whatever they call them, pages on MySpace, called the Cobra Kai, because I like the movie The Karate Kid. And on that MySpace page was a link, an embedded video for some guy reviewing the Karate Kid game on the NES. I watched it and I was like, this is hysterical. This guy's great. And I went over to YouTube and he ended up being the first account that I subscribed to on YouTube. Because he had that review, he had the Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, and the Castlevania 2 review. Jesus Christ, I'm drawing a blank here. Anyway, those three videos, I watched them. I was like, this guy is great. I can't wait to see. I remember playing in these games, and I remember having a difficult time with him. Not Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde, didn't play that. But anyway, I saw into what he was doing and saw these reviews. And then he did a review of the Power Glove, and I'm like, oh my god. I remember Christmas of 1990, I guess it was, when it came out. And one of my best friends across the street got it for Christmas, and it's what he wanted, and we all went over there for Christmas to play the Power Glove, and it ruined fucking Christmas. It was the worst fucking present ever. We all hated it. It was difficult. It was just an entire day of frustration. And then I saw James Rolfe make that video about it, and I was like, this fucking guy nailed the frustration from my childhood, put it so succinctly, so perfectly in a video. I was a fucking fanboy of him from that point on. Then I find out little things like he grew up not too far from me. We were both born and raised in South New Jersey, and he was not too far that he grew up away from me. He was the same age as me. We both love like the similar type films like Rocky and action flicks and stuff like that, and he's a big horror film guy. So the fanboyism just grew and grew and grew towards this guy. He became more to me than just some guy making videos. He was a symbol of my home state. He was a symbol of my age group. He was a symbol of people like me that played video games as a kid and got fucking frustrated as hell. And I began to worship him, defend him when it needed to be defended. And then came someone called the Irate Gamer. I found out about the Irate Gamer mostly from how a number of people first found out through about the Irate Gamer is his Super Mario Bros. 2 review when it got featured on the front page of YouTube. Now those of you who don't remember what the old YouTube is like, when you've got a video featured your shit got put on the map. Getting a feature on YouTube was the absolute one single way to skyrocket your channel, get popularity, and get people just to shovel in droves and subscribe to your channel, and just like people just get exposure like that. And it struck me as odd because, you know, I didn't think the review was that bad, and it was by some guy named Chris Bors, the Irate Gamer. And I was like, all right, it's okay. It's a decent little review. And then I noticed some things started looking similar in other different reviews, and it's at this point one specific thing differed between the Irate Gamer and James Rolfe, and that is the Irate Gamer was made a YouTube partner. James Rolfe wasn't. And James Rolfe and Mike Matei, as was told to me in a number of conversations I had with Mike, that they tried to become a YouTube partner and were denied constantly. Yet this guy who comes along just out of nowhere making this similar content, just reviewing video games, was allowed to become a YouTube partner and monetize his videos. Now, this is one thing I never disclosed about this situation. If there was one situation, one person I went after where the initial point was simply because they were making money, this was the instance. And I never, ever, ever put that out there because that could cause a chain reaction to my other videos saying like, oh, you're obviously upset with Ray William Johnson because he has ads on his video. Or Shane Dawson has ads on his video. It could just start like a cataclysmic thing where I'm like, no, it has nothing to do about the money. He's like, no, but you said the Irate Gamer, he has ads on his video. You have a problem with that. It's not so much that he has the ads on his videos. It was that James Rolfe and that Angry Nintendo Nerd channel didn't. And it pissed me off because I see this guy that I like so much more, that I'm such a big fucking fanboy of, that I'm worshiping everything he does. And back then they had the little display on your channel where it shows you what you rated a video. Remember the star system? Every time an Irate Gamer video would come out, I'd give it a 1 star. Every time anything James Rolfe came out, 5 stars. And you'd see it on my channel, just stacked. You'd see 1 star Irate Gamer, 5 star James Rolfe this, 5 star James Rolfe that. And it pissed me off knowing, because at the time, I was a YouTube partner. YouTube came to me and made me a YouTube partner. And I was like, wow, it's kind of easy here to make money. At least from my stance of where I was, getting views wasn't that tough for me, and I was making money right from the get-go on this website. And I was comparatively looking, I was like, see here, I got about this amount of views per month. This guy got multiple times more. Like, Irate Gamer was getting millions of views for some of his videos, where I'm getting like, you know, I'm lucky to see 10, 20,000 views, and I'm getting a paycheck every week from Google. This guy had to be getting multiples more, and over here, James Rolfe is getting nothing. Nothing for making more content. He was making reviews back then 2 times a month, or he's making them every other week at that point. And I was like, this guy is getting chicken scraps, table scraps, and I know people are going to be like, well, you know, he was in a contract with Screw Attack, and he was selling merchandise and all that. But that's the thing. He was getting dimes on the dollar to that, and that was even partly disclosed in that conversation I had with Mike Matei, and those letters that we sent back and forth with each other. And I was like, this guy is making so much more. He's a chosen one by YouTube. YouTube is featuring his content. After that, Super Mario Bros. 2 got featured. It was, I think it was the Muscle review got featured as well. This guy's getting force-fed. At this point, James Rolfe had nothing. Nothing ever featured by YouTube. Yet he was showing that he was getting an audience, a bigger audience, getting bigger amounts of views for his videos. He wouldn't get that extra push from YouTube. This is the part where my anger got misguided. Because truthfully, and in retrospect, looking back at the situation, the true, if you want to call them a villain here, was YouTube. Why YouTube selected Chris Bores to be the one in the video game community that got his videos featured multiple times and give him that extra push, because he was getting to a point where, you know, James Rolfe was up here and Irate Gamer is down here, but then the sub gap started shrinking. I'm like, this motherfucker's gonna kept getting force fed to us by YouTube, and he's gonna be bigger than James Rolfe. And James Rolfe's busting his ass more in his videos. I know all this is subjective and all that. But it just bugged the fucking shit out of me. And looking back, the anger is misguided, because I should have brought more heat down on YouTube than the Irate Gamer. Because it's not like the Irate Gamer, like, you know, was writing letters to YouTube, please feature my videos or something, or going there in their office holding them at gunpoint saying, feature my fucking videos now, motherfuckers. I couldn't picture him saying that, but he wasn't doing it regardless. Anyway, it was at that point where, you know, James Rolfe kept getting denied, and you just see Irate Gamer just constantly cranking out more and more videos, and you see the ads, and I'm getting fucking bitter and salty as shit. And I'm doing so many things, making so many videos about him, so many childish videos that I look back now and I'm just like, oh my god. Another reason why I'm making this video is I'm going to link this in all my videos in an annotation I made about the Irate Gamer, just to set the record straight. Because a number of you guys have said, like, you know, well, if you don't want people to, you know, insinuate anger towards Irate Gamer, why do you have your old videos still up? Number one, they stand for a historical document, for lack of a better term, to quote a line from Galaxy Quests. They are historical documents. Anyway, and I'm not ashamed of what I did per se, and they are what they are. I've removed videos before, videos that I personally didn't like, videos I didn't like for any number of reasons that I've removed just for the fuck of it or whatever reason. It's my channel, I can do what the fuck I want. And the videos about the Irate Gamer I chose to remain up because it is a symbol of something that was a big topic of discussion here on this website, and it's a very historical thing, for lack of a better term, as far as this website goes. But I do want to link this video in an annotation at the least, to just hopefully, you know, curb the people that are going to go over to Chris Bores and just keep starting shit at this point. And so anyways, I'm going back to where Chris Bores is making money for like years on end at this point. There's one thing that Chris Bores declared, and it was about this time too, and you know, Chris is making money, and the whole outrage, a number of people were going out calling him a copycat of James and all this stuff, and I'm one of the main people doing it and all that, blah blah blah. It's at this point a letter gets posted that the Irate Gamer wrote to James, just as a fan, just, you know, being complimentary towards him, saying he's a fan and what have you. Now, I never addressed this letter in the number of videos I made about the Irate Gamer, for good reason. I always knew that letter existed. I know it was posted on that forum. It was because I saw it as a very underhanded tactic. Now, even though I was a fanboy of James, and I feel Mike Fuckface Matei was the ultimate one that did this, it was kind of just underhanded and just like, you know, it's like, did you really have to do that? Because it was done just to embarrass the guy. Now, have I done things that have embarrassed or tried to embarrass the Irate Gamer? Absolutely. I'm not going to sit here and say no, I didn't. But when it was something as much as giving a personal letter to someone and then exposing it, that kind of just rubbed me the wrong way. And that was one of the main reasons why I put those letters that Mike Matei wrote to me on my website for anyone to see that wanted to, the discussions we had, because I felt he had no respect for the personal rights. I mean, not that it's a right or something. Once you send something to someone, they can do with it what they wish. It's just kind of smarmy to do what they did. Now, I know a lot of people want to give James a pass for this because they feel that Mike Matei ultimately was the one who posted this letter. I gotta ask you this. Do you think James knows that that letter was posted? I mean, you've got to be kidding me if you think he didn't. If he does know, and he had a problem with it, he could have had that letter taken down just like that. Just not perpetuate the drama anymore if he had a problem with it. The fact that he didn't have a problem with it shows that he agrees with it, or he was the one, in fact, that did post it on that forum. So, it's at that point, like, you know, once my tide started turning on, you know, James and Mike, I had no problem posting all those letters that Mike sent to me on my website. Stuff that detailed how, you know, James and Mike, you know, tried to get partnership a number of times and can't get it. How they can't learn how to sell DVDs on their own or hire their own people. They have to go through Screw Attack, who basically reaps the profit for themselves and gives James a little slice on the side. Where it just looks like stuff that's like bad businessman tactics. Like they couldn't figure out how to do things for themselves, so they always had to outsource. Or they had to basically have someone outsource their services to them, which is where ScrewTech came in, that handled the merchandise, the DVD sales, and everything. And they got the shit end stick of the profit because of it. And it's seeing all these things, and I'm like, my God, this Irate Gamer, he's getting a big cut of the YouTube earnings for every video he makes. He's getting paid for every video he makes, period, where James isn't. So, everything starts boiling together there. And another thing happens at this point. The Irate Gamer, and this is a personal thing, but the Irate Gamer and his girlfriend Jennifer broke up. And just to show you, like, I had no respect for the Irate Gamer at this time when this incident happened. Two people come to me, claim to be two fans of mine, said that the Irate Gamer was doing, I forget the exact specifics of it, it was like a signing at like a costume, a Halloween store or something. It was in October. He was like autographing his Ghost Hunters DVDs or something along those lines. And it was right after the breakup of him and his girlfriend at the time. And these two people wanted to go there with a camera and confront him about the breakup of his girlfriend. Like they said to me, like, you know, we're going to confront him about his girlfriend dumping him. And I was like, number one, we don't know who dumped who. Number two, don't fucking do it. When something gets like that personal and you want to get to the point that you hate this guy so much that you want to bring in his personal life or a personal instance like that, even though I had no respect for the guy at the time, I at least had enough common sense to tell these two people not to fucking do that. Like, just chill out. Do something else with your time. It's not really that much worth it. So, I just want to show you that even though I hated him that much at the time, I was still fair to what I felt was true and right of treatment of a human fucking being, which he still is. So, that whole instance goes down, and my whole tide starts turning on the whole AVGN thing when AVGN starts selling a lot of just his random crap. He has these auctions for, like, you know, broken props, like a broken cartridge that doesn't work for an NES game, or a broken Atari Jaguar that sells for like millions. That sells for what the fuck did I say millions for? Sells for like hundreds of dollars. Like, literally, there was an Atari Jaguar that sold for several $100s that James autographed and sold off. And I saw that as just being fucking greedy. No, I felt bad that these guys weren't making money for the content they made. And this is where the tide started turning, where I was like, these guys are really just coming off as greedy. And that's one of the main things I addressed with Mike. And I'll leave a link in the video description too if you want to see the letters that Mike and I had. I know a lot of stuff is just copy and paste, and you can be like, oh, you could have typed in anything. I have the original letters as well. People are going to think I just faked the shit. But anyway, if you believe me, you do. If you don't, you don't. I don't care at this point. Anyways, the conversations that Mike and I had, it shows that he does start kind of feeling like, yeah, I guess I can see how it is kind of greedy, and I can see, yeah, that is kind of on the, you know, we got hundreds of dollars for a broken video game piece and, you know, stuff like that, where I felt when someone does that, and I kind of have a general qualms against people that do this, because you force your fans that have money to outbid each other Whereas your most loyal fans might be the ones without money that could just really appreciate something, just like an autographed cartridge from James or something, but they don't want to pay $100 in some eBay auction or whatever. They can't get to a festival, a Comic-Con or whatever they're at to get a game autographed or whatever. They're on the other side of the world. But the only chance they have is to go into one of these auctions and outbid someone. Like, I told him, I was like, stuff like that, why don't you just give them away at one of these, whatever's you do, your meetups or whatever. Just like give that to really appreciative fans, not the fans that have the most money and that are just willing to outbid each other for it. Anyways, I know this video's dragging on and on. It's at that point that I started really questioning how much greed was behind what AVGN was doing. And then actually before the Kickstarter, there's a change on YouTube now at this point. This is a couple years ago where they have things called networks now. They can grant partnership where you can get your videos monetized and they'll work out the copyright issues and everything like that, and they keep a percentage and give you a cut. So now all of James's videos are monetized. He's getting a cut. So I'm like, that's great. At this point, I am fucking content. I'm like, this guy is finally going to get to see a just amount of money because he doesn't have to split it with Screw Attack or anything. He can make a video about anything. He can do his Monster Madness reviews or whatever, upload them there, and get some sort of monetary benefit from them. Not that everything's all about the money, but again, I was still bitter that Irate Gamer could do whatever he wanted on YouTube and they let him make money. But if this guy over here that's been doing it for longer and proven that he can generate more views and more fan followers doesn't get loud. Again, misguided hate should have been at YouTube, not at Irate Gamer, because Irate Gamer didn't have that decision to make for himself. Anyway, it's at that point where James is finally making money, and then that fucking Indiegogo campaign comes out for his fucking movie. I had a problem with that for an obvious number of reasons, most of which I'm not going to rehash and reiterate. But it all basically, to just do some bullet points, it came down to, number one, you never need to do an Indiegogo to make your best videos. Your best videos didn't need to have a better camera, didn't need to have better special effects. They needed you as the nerd character and didn't have to have long skits, which is what the movie was going to be. A long skit with a game review somehow shoved into it. And just number two, oh God, I forgot what my number two was. Number one was that he doesn't need the money. And number two, the amount of money that he was asking for was something that told you that the product was going to be very polished and go for a professional look based on the amount that he was asking for. And it was at that point where I'm like, that's not AVGN. AVGN is the guy that talks shit out of games that I was frustrated when I was a kid and doesn't have to have a long skit and find aliens and do other random shit. That's not what the AVGN was to the archfiend AVGN fanboy. And it was at that point where I was like, AVGN is simply not so much about this character now, but in it for himself. Not that there's anything wrong that he's in it for himself, but he's in it for more than just himself, more for the money, and more for his specific want and needs. Now, I know there's nothing really wrong per se with that, but it's just that he's blinded at this point to how he got to where he got. It's at this point now where his reviews are being seen as they're nowhere near as good. Like everyone, you see the comments like, this is a pretty good review, but it's nowhere near the classic AVGN from the first couple years. Because people don't want to see something that's a better, crisper, polished product. They want to see something rudimentary, fundamental, raging lunacy, vulgarity that made those first 1 through 3 seasons stand out. Now, granted, it's nice to see some special effects and a Mega Death Christ and all that shit. That's a nice little touch here and there. But to think that he wants to make a theatrical film out of it, I was just like... And that he's asking for an amount of money of several $100,000 to make it. I was like, what? You have all the resources available right now without asking for a penny more. And it was at that point I was like, just like that. Went from fanboy to fuck off. Right then and there. That was all it took. That one thing, and I was broken for good. And it was at this point that Chris Bors and I start exchanging emails. Now, pretty much a lot of what Chris Bors said in his video, his response to me that he made yesterday, he told to me personally through several emails to me. And I didn't pull a Mike the Coward Matei and post the shit so that people could see them. I shared them with a person or two who I trust who did not share or leak that information. And I wouldn't have done so if I feared they would. So they can verify that Chris sent these messages to me. And it talked about a lot. He talked to me personally about how betrayed he felt that that letter was leaked, that he was a true, genuine fan, and that he, put up this front of just ignoring the whole issue, and he had justifiable reasons to do so, and that one day he may tell his side of the story, and that day was yesterday. And I'm grateful that my video helped push him to telling that story. And it just goes to show, kind of just to wrap this up, and I know I'll probably drone on for like 10 more minutes, it just goes to show how now Chris is becoming the one that's gaining respect. And AVGN releasing his movie where even his own fans are going, it really wasn't that good. He's like losing respect. Like, his days are numbered. Like, I mean, let's be realistic. What is AVGN going to do from here on out? He'll, release the DVD and Blu-ray version of his movies, sell that, get the profits from that, make some AVGN reviews. But it's getting to the point where his time for popularity is up. I mean, he's going to be nowhere near the level. I know, never say never, I get all that. But there's so many people that have just transcended him and then some. It's like Irate Gamer, he brought up PewDiePie, and like a channel like his, how big it is. And yet you never saw, and that was a good point that Chris Bors brought up in that video yesterday. He said, you never saw James doing Let's Play videos until after PewDiePie got his hyper popularity on this website. Then all of a sudden there's like these Let's Play Monday videos and stuff like that. Kind of a quinky dink, but we can't call James a ripoff of PewDiePie, could we? No, that's just impossible. So, I didn't care because I didn't care what I did and what I said about James, because I was a fanboy, and at that point, I just wanted to piss, more than just piss on James and that fuckface Mike Matei. I wanted to piss on his fans more, because I was once that fanboy that stuck by him, was so fucking loyal to a T, and I was quote-unquote heartbroken. And I made the videos, and I made them to a certain degree and said things, and I really amped up what I said on purpose to piss off his fans more than anything else. Like those death threats I got from his fans, and I made a video about all the death threats I got, I fucking expected it. For the things I said, I wish the movie would fail and everything like that. That shit was fucking calculated to entice that shit. And however you want to look at it, I feel it worked. Because I didn't expect any sort of response from James or Mike or anything like that. If there's one person who I genuinely hate in all this, and I know hate's such a strong word, I mean, I wouldn't do anything to him in public or anything, and that's Mike Matei. Mike Matei is the best friend that James can't say no to. That's what I see him as. And James is a guy that, frankly, Still, I look back at his videos. I was watching some AVGN videos just the other day. No fucking bullshitting you, and I was enjoying the shit out of them. Because there's nostalgia in them, both from a good time here on YouTube that I had with his channel, and just to my childhood. I will still consider James's videos some of the single best internet videos that I've ever seen. Because, well, for my specific tastes. I'm not going to sit here and say James's videos suck or anything like that. And I know a lot of people are going to be like, oh, well, you must think Irate Gamer's videos are the best now. No, just to show you that I'm not going to be a suck-ass of the Irate Gamer right now, I still think Irate Gamer's videos are really corny and I don't like them much at all. But I don't want to compile this to be a dump on him episode because I've said more than I've said enough about him. And I know some people will probably have a problem that I'm perpetuating this even more. I'm creating the drama going on even more. I know I said I want the drama to die off, but with Irate Gamer making that video yesterday, I could at least pony up and make some sort of response too. If he was cordial enough to address this situation, catalyzed by my video, I could at least do the same here and lay all the cards on the table because there's a lot of things that I haven't said about this. So anyways, Mike Matei, again, it's very symbolic of what James has in his whole life here on the internet, because he's a symbol of someone like, do you think Mike would ever tell James no? It's a symbol of, you know, making a movie that his fans saw as such a stinker, besides the blinded fanboys that are going to love it no matter what. It seems that anyone that has given this an objective look, that is still a fan of James, is saying the movie just really wasn't that good. It's because James, more than likely in his life, and I'm not going to claim to know anyone around him personally, but I do know Mike from his, you know, numerous appearances, is that he probably has a lot of people like Mike in his life that would never tell him no. And that James has gotten to the point where, well, if people around me don't say no, my way is best. And I don't fault James for anything. I don't hate James. I don't genuinely hate him or anything like that. I hate his blinded fanboys, but that's a whole different story, because they want me dead. But besides that, I see James as someone who is either misguided from having too many yes men around him, or just really doesn't know how to do things the right way and only knows his way. And like I said, if you have people like Mike Matei around him, your best friend, is he going to say no? No. Probably not. Mike Matei, if he has an ounce of smarts, he will suck up to James as long as possible and hang on his coattails for as long as possible. Because this ride isn't going to last forever. And I'm sure James and Mike know that. Because like I said, how many AVGN episodes could they make now before it really starts getting stale? Before it starts getting more stale than it already is. So, anyway, like I said, just wanted to make a full disclosure video here about everything. I have no ill will towards Irate Gamer or James Rolfe. But there's a lot of things that I haven't said about this, and stuff that I deliberately didn't say for years on end because of the videos I was making. But, you know, why not just come clean about it now? Now's a better time than any, right? Anyway, Chris Boris, keep doing what you're doing. James Rolfe, keep doing what you're doing. I mean, we all had our little time in the sunshine here, and we all seem to be arcing downwards in our little lives here on the internet. The one difference being is some of us didn't quit our day job to make YouTube and internet our full-time gig. But we'll see where that bridge takes everyone here. Everyone, have a good day, a better tomorrow, and fuck Mike Matei and the Dallas Cowboys. Have a good day, everyone.